Okay, John S. Rhodes here. And listen, I've seen so many people who say that Bitcoin has failed because it has not worked as a flight to safety. So let's talk about what that means. First of all, failure would mean that it's not doing its job in some way or another, as if Bitcoin has a job. Maybe it has a job to store value in your life's work and life's energy, but we'll put that to the side for a minute. Okay, so we will think instead and spend our time on Bitcoin being a flight to safety. What that typically means with investors is that if the shit hits the fan, that what happens is people want a safe haven. They want a place to put their life savings and investments so that they will not lose value. So a lot of times people will sell down their stocks or bonds and they'll put that money into cash, into a savings account or money market account or something like that, because it's not going to lose value, supposedly, at least not in the short run. Now, obviously, in the medium and long run, we've got inflation working against us with cash, but many people consider cash to be very much a flight to safety asset because you could sell stocks and bonds, you could sell almost anything and then convert it into cash and just hold the cash as the storm goes on and until it passes. So that's the idea of flight to safety. And some people have said, hey, Bitcoin does not hold or store value. It loses value right along with stocks if there is a crash. Well, that's something of a red herring. And what I mean by that is that presumes that the people that are buying Bitcoin think of it as a flight to safety asset. They think of it like cash. Well, let's start with this. At a personal level, I don't believe that. I don't think that. And I think many Bitcoin holders or hodlers, I think many of them and us think about buying it and holding it and not selling it or worrying about it going up and down in value over time. Now, there's a lot of volatility. So if you're putting money into Bitcoin and you expect it to just sit there in a stable way, you get another thing coming. You're off your rocker. It's not going to happen. It has volatility. It also has volatility to the downside and volatility to the upside. And the reason for the crazy gains, as a sidebar, the reason for the insane crazy gains with Bitcoin is because you have upside volatility. So most people think about volatility as being bad because of the downside volatility, like the drop in value. Oh no, right? Well, I understand that, but you have to realize for the massive, insane gains that you can get with Bitcoin and that you have gotten with Bitcoin over time is because you have upside volatility as well. So many people forget that. All right, so let me go through some of the notes that I have here because I think that some of these things are of critical importance to understand Bitcoin properly. So, Bitcoin isn't meant to be money or cash, at least not yet. In the future, it might be something more like a currency, but it's not that way right now. It's more akin to gold. You're not going to buy and sell gold on a daily basis or to pay the bills or the things like mortgages and paying credit cards and stuff. You're not going to buy and sell gold to do that. You're going to use cash in most cases for your day-to-day transactions. That's even if you have a ton of Bitcoin. A lot of times you're just going to hold a Bitcoin and just sit on it. It's a store of value. It's not meant for a lot of transactions. Okay, so again, the volatility is real, both to the upside and the downside, but Bitcoin itself isn't what I would consider and what many people would consider to be money. It's not money. Now, can it serve as money? Can we translate and transmute it into money for transactions? Well, of course, just like you can sell stocks and bonds and anything else. You can sell things and get dollars or get currency and then take care of bills and taxes and everything else. Now, the analogy here is if if you think of Bitcoin as a flight to safety, well, that would mean that you should also think about, let's say, Amazon as a flight to safety. That's an asset, it holds value. That's like a battery holding, value over time. But Amazon just like Bitcoin, it goes up and down over time, and it's not something that you'd want to use on a minute by minute, day by day, perhaps not even a month by month, maybe not even a year by year basis. It just doesn't make sense because it's not a currency. You're not using the money. It's not until you sell it that you actually are able to then transact, at least effectively. So Bitcoin is not meant to be a flight to safety, at least in the short term. Maybe in the medium term or the long term. I'd say the same thing about stocks like Amazon as well. In fact, the Magnificent Seven, as they've been called, many people consider the stock market, but especially those seven recently, to be something like money batteries where they hold value. If you'd like me to talk more about that, leave a comment below and I'll talk about how stocks are treated like batteries, and especially the Magnificent Seven. I'd love to talk about that, but I want to hear from you. All right. So again, not flight to safety. Store of value, yes. Short-term volatility, yes, as well. All right. So again, short-term, not a flight to safety. Bitcoin is not a flight to safety in the short run. All right. So what does that mean? What does the medium to long term look like? What is the minimum period of time that you should be looking at? Keeping it very, very simple. Now, this is based on statistics. This is based on looking at Bitcoin price history over time. Got it? So this is like looking at what Bitcoin has actually done and what many people are thinking and projecting that it will do. If you look at 4-year cycles, really more than 4-year cycles, if you go to 5 years or more, for sure, 4 is probably enough, at least in terms of what I've looked at in the research. Bitcoin is absolutely just a champion. It's a destroyer. It's a winner, right? And it is, in that case, definitely a flight to safety, especially when you consider that the U.S. dollar is being inflated away at a crazy rate. Even if it's 5% a year, that is insane. It's incredible how much money, how the money is being devalued over time just due to inflation and nothing else. Whereas if you look at Bitcoin over 4+ years, it's done nothing but go up, at least against other assets and against the US dollar. Absolutely true. Okay. So Bitcoin absolutely wins the flight to safety test over the medium term, if you consider that 4 years. And if you go beyond over the life of Bitcoin, and you pick, chunks of time that are 4 years or more, it's truly incredible. All right. I would also take a look at longer time periods, right? 6, 7, 8 years. Look at the entire history of Bitcoin, and you'll really see what happens. It's really when you zoom out and you logarithmically look at Bitcoin where you see this relentless upward progression in price of Bitcoin. That's kind of the key, is that you look at it over time, and that will smooth things out so that even the wild price swings in the short term start to smooth out. By the way, you can do the exact same thing for stocks. If you look in the short term, it's going to be very, very noisy. Very, very noisy. I think you know that, but it's up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. Up, down, 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 up. It gets crazy. Bitcoin does the same thing, but maybe even more, right? Even crazier. But over time, and that's the key, over time, it smooths out. And the relentless up and to the right on the graph is a thing of beauty with Bitcoin. All right. Over the 5+ year time frame, 4 at least, but if you go 5 years plus, when it comes to flight to safety and what's worth holding on to in terms of safety, actual safety, and preserving your hard-earned value, not dollars, but holding on to the value that you've created and you want to store, there's nothing else like Bitcoin. It trounces practically everything, if not everything, especially over the life of the asset. All right. So that's what I've got for you with Bitcoin being awesome, wild, crazy, how it's not a short-term flight to safety asset, but in the longer run, it is absolutely a flight to safety, lifeboat. it really is something of a possibly saving your portfolio from destruction. If you think that the US dollar, especially if you're in the US and a US investor, especially if you think that the US dollar is inflating away and you're tired of your cash being debased and the wild amounts that are being borrowed by the government and the money supply increasing at an insane rate and so on and so forth. Many of these things you've probably heard. Well, you know, with Bitcoin that there are 21 million. In fact, there's probably less that will ever be in circulation ever, ever, ever for a variety of reasons because of keys being lost and wallets, being lost for various reasons. All kinds of things happening with Bitcoin, but there's never going to be more than 21 million, and because of that, there is true absolute scarcity. And instead of thinking of scarcity like something scary, that scarcity is a good thing when it comes to being a flight to safety type of asset in the medium and long term. And I think many people miss that critical point. Okay, my name is John S. Rhodes. I'm one of the Rhodes brothers. My brother Matt and I love to share this kind of training with you. Please like, share, and comment on this video. What do you like best? What would you like to hear more about? And also look in the description because we have a ton of excellent resources for you to help you, guide you on your way to make more money. If you found value in this, please share with a friend and do the thing where you go ding, and that way you know when new videos are posted. Again, John S. Rhodes, we'll see you in the next training. Thank you very much.